There you are. Welcome back. I have something for you. Three reminders of why watching your surroundings is key to survival. Now, let's begin. A little backstory. I'm a 20-year-old short, petite female working at Subway, and I can't help but be nice to anyone, even if they creep me out. I just normally feel bad. About a year ago, we had this guy, 35 to 40 years old, who would come in every day for lunch. He was fascinated by my stretched ears and few piercings that I had on my face, and always asked questions. He would sit down after I rang him out and watch me from his table for 2 hours nonstop, just staring at me while I helped other customers. This goes on for about 2 weeks. Every day he would ask for my number, saying he has plugs and tunnels he wants to give me and see me wearing them in my ears, and I always politely declined. One day, I'm alone in the store because my manager had to run to the bank. We were really slow that day, so I was just in the back room messing around on my phone. I heard the door chime, looked up, and yet no one was there. Then, I saw the man walk past the front of the store really quickly, like he was in a hurry. The store phone rings. "Thanks for calling Subway. How can I help you?" This is the girl with the nice ears, right? Yes, who is this? Are you alone in the back room right now? Are you working by yourself? At this point, I got really creeped out and knew it was him. I hung up and texted my manager the situation so she would hurry back. He called again, this time asking me weird questions, like what would I do with him in a room with the door locked, if I had a boyfriend, why I was playing hard to get, etc., etc. My manager gets back and I tell her everything. In the middle of the lunch rush, he calls again. This time my manager answers, and to this day, she never told me what he said, but the look on her face made my spine shiver. She told him if he called again or showed up here, she would call the police. I thought that was the end of it, but alas, I was wrong. So, 1 week later, I'm clocking out and getting ready to walk to my car, parked in the front, and when I look outside, I see him standing by my car and looking inside of it. I was an idiot and left the back door unlocked. I watched him crawl inside and shut the door. The creep was trying to hide in my freaking back seat and do God knows what to me when I got in. My manager locked the front door of our store and called the police. When they arrived, they had to pretty much drag him out of my car and he was arrested. On him was a butcher knife, rope, and a rag with chloroform on it. If I hadn't looked up when I did, I would probably be dead right now. An ex-boyfriend who I dated for a grand total of 3 weeks got really attached in those 3 weeks and told me he loved me after we had sex. I told him I was flattered but didn't reciprocate. I decided to break up with him soon afterwards because he was way too intense. I told him this and then the abuse began. He began texting, calling, and Facebook messaging me incessantly. It varied wildly, what he'd say, begging for me to come back, come over for sex, graphically detailing how he would hoped I die, telling me what a slut I am, etc., etc. I blocked him from my phone and on Facebook and Snapchat after he ignored my request to stop contacting me. He began messaging me through the accounts of mutual friends without their permission, I later found out, and leaving me about 10 voicemails a day. He even got hold of my work email, which I never gave him, and sending me long paragraphs in which he would bounce wildly between lamenting his love for me, diagnosing me with various mental illnesses, which was everything from bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, MPD, and Asperger's syndrome. It was a new one each time. He dragged up the one time we had sex into this too, and telling me that I was broken because why would I not want to be with him? I ended up getting a new email to use at work because it turns out you can't block someone from emailing you. I once again sent a single line in a reply. It just said, "Stop contacting me." He wasn't done there. He had previously been texting me, which he was blocked from doing. He found out that my MacBook can receive messages from his iPod Touch using my personal email address, which he did have. So here come the iMessages, mostly pictures of his penis he found on 4chan, while calling me a slut and a whore, and taking screenshots and posting my angry and distressed replies to his friend's group chat. Screenshots of this group chat got sent to me. Thankfully, the mutual friend in that chat was actually sticking up for me. Everyone else was telling him to try and have sex with me. I ended up turning off the iMessage function on my Mac altogether, so he couldn't do it anymore. Again, I asked him to stop contacting me, this time threatening legal action actually thought was hilarious. I ended up going to the police and they gave him a call. They knew that what was going on and that stalking charges would be pressed if he kept going. They told me to text him. His reply made me angry beyond all reason. It said, "Stop contacting me now. I've had my fun." I didn't reply under instructions from the police, but I went home and threw things around in anger for about 10 minutes. I haven't heard from him since, on the bright side. From my local art community, and he mentioned via Facebook that he was looking for a nonprofit to become involved in. So, I invited him to learn more about the one I was involved with. He proceeded to befriend the executive director, a friend of mine, and many of my other friends, and then used the friendships and MPO to gain access to me. He very quickly became homeless and started squatting in the offices of the MPO and sometimes my garage with his 8-year-old son. He used his friendship with me as well as mine and my empathy to get information from me, then will use that to get it from my friends, and would ultimately use it all to try to break up my marriage and friendships. I started to realize just how creepy he was being when I started to see him drive past my house. He started professing his love to me and anyone else that would listen, wrote me creepy letters, obsessively contacted my friends, threatened suicide, and left me a bunch of Craigslist missed connections. He wouldn't listen to any of my back-off messages, and the MPO refused to kick him off the board. In the meantime, I was getting deeper and deeper into Buddhism and was preparing to take a set of important vows. He learned about the vows, looked them up, and learned that one of them essentially was to never turn away someone who came to Buddhism and asked for my help. So he joined my temple. I told him it made me uncomfortable, and he reminded me of my vows and told me he didn't care how it made me feel. That was when I told him that if I ever saw him at my home or temple again, I would get a restraining order, and I told him to never ever contact me again. He tried to convince everyone I was crazy and that he was really a Buddhist now, but I had already warned the clergy at the temple. I had to block him from all social media, and we rotated board meetings. It's been 3 years, and I still get chills when I see him around, accidentally. I genuinely think he was one of the most disturbed and creepy people I've ever met.